The case hits mid-morning coffee during the debrief. Trace is still shaking off the fallout from the last mess, a love triangle turned autopsy class. The food champ boyfriend, still wearing his sauce-stained medals, ended up with his own oversized generic chef's knife buried deep. And the gym rat husband? Rage issues, too much pre-workout, not enough planning. He snapped. The other Trace team, both sides, called it self-defense. But Jordan and Julio, his brother-in-law, got the gym rat to break with clean, unbiased police work. No tricks, just logic. And a little heat. We thought that was bad. Then this dropped. A known biotech investor, shady, paranoid, lawyered up, found dead inside his private lab. No forced entry, no security alerts, just a flawlessly staged misdirection using drone decoys and 41 seconds of raw human scent in a sterile zone where no one should have been. No synthetic masking, no trace neutralizing polymers, just a bright, confusing fingerprint. Lemon, peach, tea. The kind of scent you pack for a date at the park, not a murder in a sealed biotech vault. Jordan's already flipping through old scent databases when the match pings. Blue Tarantula. Not a name. Not officially. A calling card. Obsolete. Disavowed. Supposed to be dead. Jordan's brow tightens. This has got to be a fake. A copycat. Julio leans over his shoulder, assuming we even have the original scent right. Could be a lackey. Could be bait. But why dig up this ghost for this case? Jordan keeps scrolling. The database metadata flickers and flutters. Julio narrows his eyes. Wait, what's the tag on the original file? Jordan doesn't even blink. Hacker Arnold Palmer. Julio just stares. Of course it is. The AI division kicks in fast. Counter-trace protocols start mapping anomalies, error patterns that don't normally repeat. It's not just spoofed drones. Someone piggybacked off no-fly zone overrides, the kind reserved for diplomatic events. Manual entries, hand-keyed by high-level bureaucrats or someone standing in their shadow. Julio cuts through the noise on the internal feed. Sloppy mistakes don't line up with a supposed ghost hacker. Then comes the second ripple. Another override fires. This one triggers a trace ping. They almost had him. Almost. The signal leads to a known location, Senator Marcus Kellam's private estate. Trace tangled with Kellam a few weeks back. His daughters, his disappearing contracts, his smiling denial. The kind of man who looks you in the eye while selling someone else's lungs to a defense contractor. And now, it looks like Blue Tarantula doesn't know the police are already in the way. Jordan and Julio don't wait. They know the grounds, know the perimeter, and have authorization to make the call. The transport drone goes dark, stealth mode activated, and reroutes toward the service entrance at the back of the estate. No sirens. No lights. Just two operatives on approach, following a trail that shouldn't exist, toward a ghost that shouldn't be back. The scent trail doesn't lead far, but it leads just far enough, into a dead zone, where the giant city walls stop pretending to care, an abandoned wedge of skyline camouflaged by decay, no city maintenance, no drone corridors, no cryolo mist ventilation. Just aging infrastructure and older money. This isn't one of Kellam's estates. It's one of the original Kellam's, a fallback property built on legacy paranoia, the kind of house that knows how to stay forgotten, locked down, signal scrambled, manual everything. The hum of anti-surveillance static echoes like old beehives in the background. Inside, it's skeletal, stripped tech, burner tablets, low heat signatures, everything wiped except intent. Then, movement. A figure, small, quick, darts across an upper scaffold. Weatherproof hoodie, nimble feet. She vaults onto a rotted-out service ladder, scrambles up, then leaps onto a passing transit drone like it's just another step. She's done this before. Jordan doesn't blink. Julio's already moving. The runner's fast, but Trace is faster. Cornered 3 stories up in a rusted stairwell, she doesn't fight, doesn't even flinch. She could have hidden, but the Sense 3.5 already had her, trapped in scent, soaked in data. She raises her hands. Not a layer ghost, not a merc, not a proxy, not even armed. Just a teenager. Sweat-matted hair, steady breath, too calm to be innocent, too young to be a legend. Jordan steps closer, voice low. "You're the hacker?" She shakes her head. "No, I'm the backup plan. He said if anything went wrong, someone had to save him." Julio tenses. "Save who?" She doesn't blink. "Blue Tarantula." Julio exhales, sharp. "Okay, hey, kid, I don't know what your boyfriend's telling you, but—" She cuts him off with silence, eyes locked. "You need to save my dad, the real Blue Tarantula." The air goes still. That name doesn't belong in daylight. Blue Tarantula, a whisper on Trace Leak forums. A ghost from unfinished ops. The name no one says out loud, because it might answer. Not a hacker, a strategist, a digital conductor who moved firewalls and fail-safes like symphonies, never left prints, never touched keys. Some say he trained the ones who trained the ones who trained the legends. Most say he vanished after a black bag job detonated on impact, one of those geopolitical missions where even the funding country was redacted. Tessa once joked, "I thought Blue Tarantula was a myth, like Rom's tenure application." But this girl? She's not laughing. Not with that burnt orange hoodie, goggles still glowing electric blue, and a half-melted wrist device that hums like it's alive. She looks like she stepped straight out of a blackout, powered by spite and solar charge. She says, open quote, "I know the area he's at. He's not dead. He knew this was coming. But if they think he is, they'll start phase 2. Close quote. She doesn't wait for permission, just adds, open quote, "I need to reach the relay tower above District 9 before sunset." Close quote. And then nothing. She stands there, hoodie dripping, eyes unshaken. Julio calls it in, but Jordan's not listening anymore, because the phrase the girl just used, "tomorrow's echoes," isn't from any trace file. It's from something else, something he buried years ago. Int Skylot Transfer Bay, early night. The trace transport is late, or slow, or both. Jordan and Julio sit under a cracked halogen panel, light flickering across their jackets, still damp from the stairwell chase. Far above, high-altitude traffic pulses like migrating fireflies. Down here, just old oil, loose bolts, and the faint hum of a forgotten engine room. The girl sits nearby, quiet. They gave her a lukewarm hot chocolate and a sandwich she didn't ask for. She hasn't touched either. Julio leans back, boots dangling off the edge of the platform. You believe her? Jordan shrugs. Doesn't matter. Julio watches the sky for a long beat. She said he's alive, that Blue Tarantula's her dad, that he knew this was coming. He pauses. That smell pattern, it's been showing up for weeks, like breadcrumbs. Jordan doesn't look at him. Breadcrumbs for who to find. I guess it takes lessons to track a legend. A low rumble cuts through the silence. Their next ride. An old Skylot cruiser rattles into view. Civilian chassis, barely retrofitted, paint peeling from the Trace logo like it gave up halfway. The side doors hiss open like they're tired of doing it. They board. Dim cabin. Green seats turned grey. No auto driver, just a joystick and a quiet magnet lock to the nearest drone stream. Jordan slides into the pilot's seat, clicks the manual override. Technically, he's driving. Realistically, the system's just pretending to let him. Julio straps in. She called herself Echo, tomorrow's Echo, like it's some prophecy. Jordan smirks. Or just some kid. Didn't you have a ridiculous screen name once? Wait, no. You were probably AAA Student 1, right? Julio glares sideways. She's what, 14, 15? Jordan fires up the cruiser, and smarter than half the people who signed our clearance papers. Julio rolls his eyes. Why are we talking about me now? The cruiser lifts off. City lights below shrink into static, each one a pixel fading from memory. Inside the cabin, silence stretches. The hum of magnet stream flight buzzes low like tinnitus. Julio speaks first, quiet now. You think she let us find her? Let us chase her, just to hand us a ghost story? Jordan doesn't look at him. I don't know, but she had a dive on our recent cases and public bios. He taps the control panel like it owes him something. She probably downloaded it all the moment she saw our vests. I don't think she wanted us caught. But yeah, a pause. I think she wanted to give us the information and somehow stop her dad from killing anyone else. Another beat. That part seemed true. Julio exhales. Yeah, well, I'm the one who gave you the scent profile, and she's still one of the better liars we've come across. Jordan finally glances over. Or she's telling the truth. XT, Airlane, Trace Cruiser, Night Flight. The cruiser tears through the sky corridor, orange city glow below them like a breathing motherboard, and purple clouds above rolling like bruises across an angry ceiling. The streets are a circuit, the towers are memory cards. And tonight, they're just another packet moving through the stream. Julio flips on his wristpad. I pulled her file again, same as earlier, but, he squints. As soon as I opened it, it deleted itself. Jordan, yours too? Julio nods. On screen, the only thing left is a dead string of aliases. Open quote. Echo.exe, future tense.echo, reverb, echo chamber, silent EEK0, feedback, back ping, echo mirage ripple, close quote. They stare at the list for a second too long. Then the scent system pings, a delayed archive tag from one of the city's NARC units. Open quote, sonar. That repeater punk, the loop, aftershock kid, the girl, close quote. Julio leans back, rubbing his temple. Did we just get an info packet that deleted itself like it knew we were watching? Jordan doesn't respond. Not with words, but his eyes say what they need to. Maybe Blue Tarantula already knows exactly who they're with. Julio, softer now. Supposed to be an easy night, right? Jordan stares straight ahead. The lights of District 9 blink below, and far beyond that, the old relay tower's silhouette starts cutting through the skyline, waiting like a tombstone. 6 years ago, before the scent trails, before the name came back. Before Echo was Echo, there was a mission, and a man they called Blue Tarantula, who never asked questions, only patterns. Flashback. Blue Tarantula never asked questions. That was the rule. His edge. Don't ask, don't smell, don't stay long enough to leave heat behind. Most gigs were noise. Redirect this. Reroute that. Make sure the signature trail led nowhere and nobody. But he had one guilty pleasure. A personal tick he never admitted to. Blow always peaked. Just a little. Just enough. Some people assumed he was that good because he was smart. Truth was he was curious. Maybe too curious. But curiosity's what kept him alive. That and knowing what to walk away from. The job came in higher than usual. No group name, no handshake, no shady syndicate tag tucked in the metadata. Just a crate. Sealed. Shielded. Routed through blackout airspace, then dropped into a private vault carved into the base of a mined-out glacier. Think desert islands made of sand? Now flip it. This was a freshwater engine, a private Arctic refinery for billionaires who didn't want the ocean, or the press, knowing where their money went or came from. The buyer's voice came across the Darkline feed. Open quote, "You're not delivering a package, you're disappearing it." Close quote, "Some prototype. Too disruptive, too expensive, too real. The kind of thing that could bankrupt a dozen companies before the first headline dropped." Blow nodded. Didn't ask, didn't answer. But of course, he peeked. Not to sabotage, not even to care. Out of survival. Twice before, Blow had peeked and pulled the plug. One time dumping a crime syndicate's data rig into Interpol's lap. The other, well, it got messy. But this time, he cracked the seal. Not all the way. Just enough to trip the gel sensors and grab a vital scan. Expected a biotech prototype. Maybe a neural core, an AI rig, maybe a ghost contract embedded in crystal. What he got was a pulse. Real. Rhythmic. Human. Not a signal, not a loop. A living kid. And not just lying there. She was crouched in the dark, maybe 9 years old, mid-swing with a makeshift taser in one hand, trying to pry open the hatch using the wires from her own arm implant with the other. Her hoodie was torn. Her knuckles were bleeding. The moment the crate cracked, she lunged. Didn't say a word. Just tried to shock him. Didn't work, but not for lack of trying. That was the first time Blue Tarantula met the girl who'd one day call herself Echo, and he had 1 second to decide, finish the job, or rewrite the mission. That was the moment everything changed for Blue. After her, he took fewer jobs. Smaller ops, always got eyes on the cargo before agreeing to move it. Now, he's off-grid. Hunted by systems that no longer ask permission, by AIs that run clearance on instinct, and the only one who still knows his scent is coming online. She wasn't asleep. 14 years old, maybe 15. Curled up inside a sub-zero breach capsule. Mask sealed, shackles still humming. Heartbeat slowed down like a metronome running out of time. But wide awake. She wasn't cryo-cargo, wasn't stashed biotech. She was watching him through the condensation, judging him before he even unlatched the seal. When he cracked the lock and let the pressure drop, she didn't gasp. She didn't cry. She said, "About damn time," then bit him. Before he could wrap the bleeding, she'd already stolen his burner tab, crashed his tracking drone midair just to make a point, rerouted half his rainy day crypto into something called Brainfire by Mac Movement, claiming it was a risky, speculative media asset with emotionally unstable potential. Even had the nerve to narrate it out loud. Said something like, "Not sure, but that stock is either going to stay the same or explode. I'd say it's worth the risk." Didn't explain what she meant. Didn't need to. She wasn't a project. She wasn't a rescue mission. She was a runaway with a god-tier processor and a taste for chaos. A glitch in the system. She could steal from vaults that didn't exist, spoof access levels that shouldn't be legal. She'd had work done, illegally, the kind of upgrades only rich people could get underage clearance for. She saw things she shouldn't have, and worse, she understood them. Someone tried to shut her up, not delete. Contain. Blue never finished that job. He torched the delivery logs. Reverse traced the payment chain. Client didn't exist. Not technically. He kept her alive, fed her, hid her, and when she finally asked what name to use, he didn't give her one. She already had it. They want to erase me? Then they can spend the rest of their lives chasing my echo. She called herself Tomorrow's Echo, then exhaled slow, eyes tilted toward the sky, stared at the stars overhead and said, "And I hope it haunts 'em." They're cruising inside the hyperlane stream, a vertical corridor of synchronized drone and vehicle traffic, glowing lanes, infinite flow. The trace cruiser is magnet-locked to its rail, gliding like a bead on a wire. Every vehicle around them is AI-guided, pre-cleared, pre-scheduled. Everything hums in code. Everything sings in silence. Julio leans back. Jordan's hands hover near the manual. Echo breaks the silence. "I'm sorry for this. I set it up. Years ago. Dad helped, so you should be safe." Julio, half distracted by the neon blur of skyscrapers scrolling past, turns down an ambient score. "What?" That's when it happens. A chirp, not from their system, from somewhere else. The dash flickers, the HUD flashes red, open quote, "Manual override clearance alpha null, traffic sync disengaged," close quote. The car jerks. Julio lunges forward in his seat. "Wait, what the hell did you just do?" From above, a delivery drone drops, but it's not carrying a package, it's carrying intent. It drills straight through the roof. Surgical. No wasted movement, no alarms. It unfolds into a stabilizing disc, hooks bracing into the roof, then pops with a release of pressure so clean it sounds like a polite apology. Sirens don't blare, because technically nothing illegal has happened, just something completely unapproved. I said I'm sorry. She whispers it. I gotta take care of myself now. Julio's voice cracks like a collision. What? You don't have to do this. But it's too late. The guidance magnets shatter. The stabilizer disc blows, and she launches, strapped to a compact glider, blades tucked into her coat, wings folding wide like some patented emergency exit for people who don't believe in staying. She flies off like a hang glider from hell, disappearing into the blue-orange blur of cross-traffic. Their transport freefalls, ripped from the lane. Other drones scramble, try to magnet link, stabilize, pull, but it's chaos now. The trace cruiser spirals, down, through a lower tier, through screeches of alert tones and bracing lights. It clips a comm tower, slams through a hedge of impact thorn, crashes nose first into the reflecting pool of a public memorial fountain. Glass rains like hail, water floods the floorboards, sloshing around their boots, then stillness. Jordan coughs, water in his mouth, pulse in his throat. I think she's gone. Julio groans beside him. She's gone. Passenger seat, empty. Side door, cracked. Water trailing off the edge like she melted into the night. The rain's thinned to mist. Overhead signage flickers in and out of sync, casting broken halos across the wet pavement. Jordan and Julio step out of the crash van, moving like people who didn't lose, but definitely didn't win. Shoulders tight, jackets half-zipped, limbs responding like they just signed waivers. Julio grumbles. You think they aimed for the fountain on purpose? Jordan doesn't miss a beat. No one aims for the sidewalk anymore. Not dramatic enough. Julio rubs his ribs, wincing. Next time I'm driving. You were unconscious. I still could have stuck the landing better. They reach the corner. A Medcare receipt clings to the bottom of Jordan's boot. She doesn't bother peeling it off. It flaps once, then gives up. Julio mutters. That nurse said I might be concussed. Jordan glances over. She also said you might just be dramatic. That was uncalled for. I was leaking out of 4 different places. Jordan deadpan. 3. One of those was iced tea. Julio checks his side like he's confirming it. He starts patting his jacket. Where's my backup vape? I need something to regret. Left it in the crash. Then I am concussed. Because I miss it like a person. Later. They sit in a lobby that makes no effort to impress. Just old tile, flickering bulbs, analog silence, no drones, no soft jazz, no ambient ads whispering about mood upgrades or protein supplements. Just the low rattle of a vending machine that's been cycling through the same bag of salt chips since the last administration. Julio shifts against the bench, winces. Their comms blink, old-style encryption, full black screen, just text. Open quote, sorry again. This was the last place he pinged me. Close quote, coordinates follow, factory district, an old server farm, one of the last standing before the Cryolo standard took over. No mist circulation, no neural mesh, no sync, just ghosts and forgotten updates. Julio leans over Jordan's shoulder. Nothing out there even runs on mist anymore. Jordan doesn't look up. Exactly. The city gives way to ruin. Streetlights die in batches, whole blocks fading like someone gave up paying the power tab. Gut-shot buildings lean against each other like drunks, rebar ribs poking through crumbled concrete. At the edge, a rust-sunken manhole. Its lid catches the last bit of light. They go down. XT Factory District, city limits, night bleeding in. The kind of place you forget exists until someone lights a match in the wrong archive. Jordan and Julio move side by side. Boots crunch across broken glass and dried coolant sludge. Overhead, a rusted sign dangles. Open quote, Civic Net Node 7, Outpost, close quote. Half the letters are melted. The other half, wish they were. Julio mutters, this is the part of town where ghosts apply to live. Jordan nods. Perfect place for a man who's supposed to be dead. Julio tilts his head. You think he's down there with a blanket and cocoa? Or should I be picturing a murder nest? Jordan doesn't blink. He trained Echo. I'm picturing 12 monitors, 0 chairs, and at least 1 booby trap. They fire up one of the Scent's 3.5D detectors. No scent trail yet, but the feedback loop is fresh. Something moved down here recently, enough to guide them behind a half-collapsed maintenance shed. At the base, a warped utility hatch, half covered by a shattered solar panel. Static ripples across a disconnected access port, like the panel's trying to remember how to scream. Julio pulls off the sense gear, eyes the hatch. You ever notice we always end up going down when something's about to get worse? Jordan answers without thinking. That's where the rot hides. Julio nods, or the monsters. He kicks the hatch. It groans open like it's been holding its breath. Bunker descending. Flashlights carve lines through the dark. Metal walls shift to raw stone. The air thickens. The deeper they go, the warmer it gets. Not body heat. Machine heat. The pulse beat kind. The kind that builds in underground servers no one's maintained in over a decade, because no one's supposed to know they're still on. Cables crawl across the walls like veins. Dust hangs in the air, magnet-charged and listening. Julio exhales. You ever wonder if someone's watching all this? Like us walking down here? Jordan doesn't answer right away. Then deadpan. If they are, hope they liked and subscribed, because this is the part where we die or get answers. Julio adjusts his grip on the weapon. Still think this is a bring him in alive situation? Jordan doesn't blink. I think we're late. It's not a bunk, not really. More like a spinal cord of forgotten infrastructure. Corridors threaded with obsolete wiring. Tiles curled up at the edges like dry skin. Every step down presses heat into their lungs. The temperature keeps climbing. This isn't body heat. It's server heat. The kind that builds up when no one's run maintenance in a decade because no one's supposed to know it's still active. Cables crawl along the walls like veins. The air pulse is charged. And then they find him. Far chamber, glowing. He's not hiding. He's typing. Not panicked. Not armed. Just calmly seated at the core of a retrofitted mess. Half legacy racks, half sleek black cube built into the city's underbelly. He's rerouting. Looping transit signals. Hijacking street gates. Triggering fake lockdowns. Somewhere above them, entire districts are responding to noise that isn't real. And off to the side, what's left of an old assassin drone sparks quietly. Gun arm melted back into its own hull, like it tried to fire but turned on itself instead. Jordan lifts her weapon. Stop. Now. Julio doesn't lower his. Jordan scans the space. It's not safe. Looks like he already stopped the threat. Maybe he's in shock, but the man just keeps typing. Until he says quietly, go ahead, pull it, they've got my daughter. Julio blinks. Echo escaped from us over an hour ago. The typing stops. His head lowers, not dramatic, not defeated, just hollow. He stands, raises his hands, walks forward without needing to be told. As they reach the upper levels, the floodlights hit. No sirens, no shouting, just smooth movement. Agents, real ones, cut through the mist. No identifying marks, just black suits, gloves, authority. One flashes a scanner. The rest move in. Jordan's badge doesn't matter, neither does the gun. Before they even hit the precinct checkpoint, the man is gone, swallowed into an unmarked van with doors that don't echo. A voice, neutral, clipped, forgettable, tells them, "This part's handled. Take a break. Don't worry about the paperwork." When they check their logs, nothing. Sense 3.5 wiped, all scent traces scrubbed or locked behind a clearance level they can't touch. Julio starts to speak. Stops. He and Jordan lock eyes. No one says the daughter's name. Not again. Int, back of an unmarked med cruiser, night. Rain-slicked neon melts down the window. The cruiser jolts once, then steadies. Julio stares at the ceiling, like if he rewinds the whole thing in his mind fast enough, he'll find the part where they had control. He doesn't. Julio stares out the med cruiser window. The neon outside's still trying to make sense of itself in the rain. The silence is thicker now. He finally mutters, "So that's it? She disappeared?" No answer. After a long beat, "Yeah," he says. "She just used us as the receipt." Jordan doesn't blink. "Even if she's filed somewhere deep in a government box," he adds, "she's non-existent on our end." Buzz, a comm ping, personal line, not trace, not work, just encrypted text. Jordan gets the same. They both read it at the same time. Open quote, "Be in touch." Close quote, below that a short embedded video. Security feed, rooftop cam, slightly tilted. It's them, caught walking out of the hospital days ago, still wet, still wrecked. Julio blinks. That's last week, that's us." Jordan squints at the footer text, reading aloud, open quote, "Knew I picked the right team. Team J&J. Not very original, but still good guys. I'll watch out for all of you." Close quote, a pause. Julio sighs, slumping back in the seat. At least no one's leaving comments. Jordan smirks finally. "You want the bad comments?" Julio, "I'd take something. Ghosted like that? That's not the normal." Jordan chuckles once. Dry. Then softer. "It's my wife's last tired art project all over again." "What?" "After our last case came her, she started this weird like and subscribe sculpture. I was scared she was trying to grow a channel." Julio watches the rooftop clip again. The flicker. The signature. Then, quietly, "Anyone looking out for my baby sister is all right by me." Beat. "That's why I deal with you."